talk about creating a foldable from a standard size sheet of paper. Notice that there are 4 quadrants that we're going to talk about, and specifically notice that there are 2 which are upside down and 2 that are right side up. Keeping in mind that when we look at the example, that the upside down ones contain the first and the last page, where the right side up ones contain the second and the third page. So keep in mind of orientation. What I'd like to do first is kind of hand sketch what it might look like as it's folded up on a regular piece of paper, so that when I open it and I start designing, I have an idea of where I want items to go. And I'm going to show you a cool trick on how we can get the upside down ones where we need them to be without having to worry about trying to move our head upside down, if you will. So let's get started in PowerPoint. We're going to start with a blank presentation. Again, we're going to change our page setup to a regular standard size piece of paper and vertically. I'm going to scale up. I'm also going to change my layout so that it's blank. And now I'm going to insert 2 lines. We're going to do a vertical line that go up and down. Again, I'm going to hold Shift and bring my line vertically down. I don't think that I'm in the middle of my paper, so I'm going to align my paper into the center horizontally so it moves it over right into the middle of our paper. I'm going to also insert another line. This time we're going to do a vertical one, Shift, and then move our line horizontally, and I'm also going to align it in the middle as well that way. So I've got my 4 quadrants. I know that these 2 on the top need to be upside down, and these 2 on the bottom need to be right side up. We're going to eventually get rid of these quadrant pieces here. Right now we're just using them as a guide so we know where we should and should not put our items, because those are the fold lines, if you will. So let's insert some fun borders. Maybe you'll insert some clip art. Maybe you're going to insert a different picture. Maybe you're going to draw something or use shapes, whatever it might be. But I'm going to insert a border, make them fun. And we can really utilize these for anything at all. So let's just take a peek at what I have here. This one looks like fun. Let's insert this one. Remember, these are going to be upside down, so you'll want to make note of that if you're intending on using an item that is specific to orientation. But let's insert another one. We'll just do something fun on all different sides. Finding some fun borders. Oh, here we go. My favorite is the 3 a.m. teacher. She has some really outstanding ones. This one looks like fun. Let's have this one over here. Again, you don't have to have borders. Maybe you want to create your own borders by making a shape within a shape. Maybe let's do that one for our next one, a little extra piece. I'm going to enter in a shape. I'm going to do a square, or perhaps you want to do a rounded rectangle, or you want to do a circle in a square. Let's do, for now, a rectangle. And again, I'm going to put it down here. I'm going to zoom in a little on the bottom right so I can kind of get a little close, and I don't necessarily know that I want it to go all the way to the edges. Even with these pieces too, I might want to hold off on doing that. Completely your choice. Let's make it unique. This time we're going to not fill it, so if I have words or something I want to insert, maybe let's have it be black, and maybe let's change it to a thicker weight and create a little dashed line. Maybe I'll create a double border by creating a different shape on the inside. Really getting a little artistic here. Don't want to go all the way to the edge. And it looks like I have the ability to make them a little more in a rectangle manner. Notice that when I've got it held here, that it's right smack dab in the middle of our original rectangle because it lines up with both crosshairs, which is pretty cool to be able to do. Let's also shape fill this one. Maybe this weight will be a little thinner than our last one, but let's still have it be here. And maybe this one we'll have dashed a little differently. So by creating our own border, pretty easy to do, dresses it up a little bit for us. Let's see, let's try to find one more. It completely depends upon what you and what your preferences are, and especially also what you're going to create, if you will. This one looks like fun. Size it down here. All right, now we are at the point where we need to create perhaps some words or whatever our theme is going to be. So again, this top left quadrant is our upside down first, and the top right one is our upside down fourth page, second page, and third page. So if I'm going to insert an item here, let's insert a text box. Let's pretend this is right side up for now. And what I had created, I used this font. Okay. I also had some clip art for the letters trig for trigonometric identities. So I'm still going to insert an item or a picture from our file. Just need to go find those Easter eggs. There's some more borders, some plain Jane type borders that I obtained for free. That's eggs. So I found the letter for T, and I brought it in. I decided I was going to make all of them the same height. So notice that this is checked off, so it will stay in proportion. So there's the letter T. I'm going to bring in the letter R. Keeping in mind that I had it at a 1.2 so that they stay the same size. Apparently this one's 1.21. Okay. Let's bring in the I. And the G. Oops. Kind of line them up as best I can. with each other. Bring this here. I also decided that I wanted to have, since trig and we're doing trig identities, they're based on a triangle, I brought in a right triangle as well. I had a no shape fill, I had a black outline, and then I also brought in a text box where a student would put their name, and with hopes that they would put their name inside the triangle. I used a different font for that, and I wanted it inside the triangle, so I can rotate it to fit inside and be inside the triangle. Okay. But this whole thing is supposed to be upside down, so how can we do that? I want to select all of my items, so I'm going to click on one, or I can hold down my mouse and highlight all of those items, and notice that it groups or grabs everything that's within that limit together. And I'm going to group all of those things together so that they're stuck together. And don't worry, if you don't like it, you can always ungroup it. So right now they're all grouped together, almost like I pasted them all together. If for some reason you don't want that, you can always ungroup them at a later time as well. So notice I'm able to take and rotate this upside down. So I don't have to think about orientation when I can group them and rotate them pretty quickly by doing that. And the same is true with when I get over here. So this is my last page. I know on my last page that we're talking about Pythagorean identities. So I copied, notice even though it's grouped together, I can still select an individual piece inside of there. And I selected it and hit copy and then pasted it over here. I want to bring it right side up so I can actually see what I'm spelling here. And when I rotate it back around, notice it gives me that it is 180 degrees exactly, so you know that it is level. Maybe I don't want it to take up too much space so my students have room to write. So maybe I might want to decide to make my font a little smaller. Okay. I'm going to copy this one, and I know that they have to be right side up. These ones are going to be basic trig identities, or basic identities, if you will. And maybe they can all fit on one line. Maybe stay with the same size font so that everything is together, but that's okay if you choose to have different fonts, different size fonts. Your project, your ideas, anything is possible. And this one was even and odd identities. So now my foldable is done. If for some reason that you can see your lines, you might want to decide to, these blue lines, you might want to decide to get rid of them. So I might just go ahead and delete them so they don't accidentally print when I'm, there we go. So they don't accidentally print on me if I don't want them. Go, put that back, and now we're back. Again, remember, if you're going to send this to somebody, oops, this isn't quite lined up with my page. If you're going to send this to somebody, make sure that you save it as a PDF so that it preserves our fun fonts, it preserves our clip art, and it doesn't disorientate things when we're saving it. So again, remember, save always as a PDF when your project is complete. Until our next lesson on PowerPoint, have fun.